That was a whole lot more fun tonight as the Yankees defeated the Arizona Diamondbacks 9-7. They hit 3 home runs and, more importantly, got off to a great start after getting off to a poor start the other night. They score 4 runs in the opening inning, 3-run home run from the captain Aaron Judge, his 5th of the season already, his 500th career extra base hit in 999 games. And then they also get an RBI double off the wall from Trent Grisham, who was out playing there tonight as the Yankees had a little bit of a lineup shuffle, as we discussed on yesterday's podcast, with some guys getting some off days. We saw Paul Goldschmidt get an off day, minus a pinch hit opportunity, or really a pinch walk opportunity late in the game. We saw Austin Wells take a seat for rest, allowing us to get a fun little moment with J.C. Escara getting his first career Major League hit, a double late in this game. And really this was, there's a few takeaways from this game that really are exciting, but this was a game that the Yankees needed. We talked about it on yesterday's podcast. You don't want to go on the road. You don't want to, after getting swept, you don't want to, follow up a sweep of your own by getting swept. And that 4-2 heading on the road with your ace on the mound on Friday feels a whole lot different than being 3-3. And you can definitely feel that tonight as we're recording. The game just ended. Obviously, you're probably listening to this on your morning commute, but the game just ended. I'm feeling jazzed up, and maybe that's pun intended because he also had a big game on Thursday night. But let's talk about a few different elements that are important going forward. One, they got what they needed out of Carlos Carrasco in this game. 5 1/3, 5 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, 3 earned runs. He gave them a chance to get that offense in position to win this game. Obviously, he got through a really good first inning and then got spotted 4 runs, which helps things. Ran into some trouble, in the 3rd inning there, but he got through it and gave them what they needed. Look, he's their 5th starter. He came into camp on a minor league deal. They didn't expect him to play a monster role this year. 5, getting into 6 innings, allowing 3 runs, that should be enough for this offense to take off. And it was. And it was a much warmer night in the Bronx. We saw the ball flying out a little bit more. And aside from, Judge's homer, I really thought that this offense as a whole felt better. And, as we talked about on the podcast yesterday, so obviously the home runs are going to come. They're the Yankees, they're the Bronx Bombers. The podcast is called Bombers Beat. We all know what we expect from the New York Yankees. But it's putting at-bats together and putting yourself in a situation where you can not just hit solo shots. You're hitting 2-run shots. We had 2 2-run shots in this game. A 3-run shot from Aaron Judge in the first. Why? Let's talk about it. Ben Rice opens the game. Double. Cody Bellinger walk. Judge homers. 3 really good at-bats for them. You come back later in this game and you give an opportunity for a few different guys to come in. But let's talk about trying to find the other one there, the Jazz Chisholm home run, okay? What happens here? Ben Rice, who we're going to talk a little bit more about later, draws a walk, steals second. Aaron Judge singles to center field. Ben Rice scores. Jazz Chisholm homers, scores Aaron Judge. Again, multiple good at-bats that you're stringing together here. You talk about the Trent Grisham home run. Sorry, I skipped over that. I went all the way to the Jazz Chisholm home run in the 4th, but you talk about the Trent Grisham home run in the 3rd inning. And again, this is another scenario where you have Anthony Volpe kind of just bloops one out there, gets a hit, his first non-home run hit of the season, and then Trent Grisham, lefty on righty, pops one out to right field, 2-run home run. You were able to string multiple bats together, and you start to look at this, and again, you hit a home run after a double and a walk, you hit a home run after a single, and then you hit a home run after a double and a single. Oh, excuse me, at a walk and a single. And in all those scenarios, there's only 1 out that was made in between. That's what we were talking about putting the ball in play, getting on base, and allowing the big bats to come up and hit for you. And they've been able to do that in this game, and that's why they won. And they needed every bit of these runs because they ran into a little bit of trouble. Wasn't the 8th inning this time. Wasn't the 8th inning Diamondbacks. It was the 7th inning Diamondbacks. And this is the part of the game that if we're going to talk about issues or talk about concerns, this is the part. And it was Ryan Yarborough's outlet. So after Carlos Carrasco comes in 5 1/3, Adam Ottavino comes in gets a strikeout, a walk, gets 2 outs total, gets him out of the 6th. Yarbrough couldn't get them out of the 7th, and he walks the first 2 batters, and it looked bad at that point. Comes right in. He got, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he got the Garrett Hampson 0-2, and then still ends up walking him. Walks Jose Herrera, gives up a single to Corbin Carroll to load the bases. Now at that point, we're at a Horcrux here. Okay, we're at a crossroads. Aaron Boone leaves him in the game. And the idea of leaving him in the game here is you have 2 of the next 3 hitters are going to be left-handed hitters who go up against a left-handed Ryan Yarbrough. But the next hitter is not a left-hander. It's Gerardo Perdomo. So he comes up and, of course, hits a grand slam. And all of a sudden, it's a 9-3 game. You're feeling good. You were thinking, all right, you might be able to, cruise a little bit through these final few innings, cruise off into your Thursday night. And all of a sudden, it's a 2-run game. No outs in the 7th. And you're just like, oh no. Is this going to be a game? Is this going to be like the first game of the series where the bullpen blows it? Boone leaves Yarbrough out there. He gets the 2 lefties next up in the lineup, Pavin Smith to ground out, Josh Naylor to fly out, Mark Leiter comes in and strikes out Luis Gurriel Jr. to end the inning. But, that's a decision that I think Aaron Boone's going to get asked about a lot tonight. He's going to get asked about it going forward. We haven't seen a lot of Yarbrough in a Yankee uniform. He was a late spring training addition. He did pitch an inning, a scoreless inning against the Milwaukee Brewers in that series, but he was called upon here really to play the matchups. Late. They were, they had a majority left-handed hitters slated for the inning ahead, particularly later in the inning as they got toward the top of their lineup, particularly with Corbin Carroll hitting first, Pavin Smith hitting third, Josh Naylor hitting fourth. He was called into that spot to get those guys out. And you're going to see him get those opportunities along with Hedrick and obviously Tim Hill, both who have been used already in this series. Those are outs you got to get. And he looked out of sorts the entire way. There was nothing wrong with bringing Ryan Yarbrough into the game in that situation. My issue is do you let him pitch to Gerardo Perdomo in that spot when you have seen he doesn't have it? Lost Hampson, lost Jose Herrera, Corbin Carroll singles. I understand you're looking at if you bring in another pitcher that first off he had to face 3 batters, so he had to face those first 3 guys. He had to go through Carroll. There's nothing that Boone could have done at that point once he made that decision. And obviously at that point, if you're going to let him pitch to Geraldo Perdomo, you're going to let him pitch to Pavin Smith and Josh Naylor for the lefty on lefty. But should he have let him pitch to Perdomo? Mark Leiter was up and down in the bullpen. He ends up coming in later in that inning to get them out of it to face Gurriel and strike him out. But that's one that Boone is going to get second-guessed on, and he should. I understand wanting to play the matchups, but I don't think you can be a slave to the matchups when it looks like your pitcher doesn't have it right now. And Yarbrough looked like he did not have it. And the concern there is do you continue to roll out with a pitcher and just hope it's going to work out? And look, Perdomo's not a home run hitter, but it didn't matter. He hit a home run there. Hit a grand slam. And brought them right back in this game. I give Yarbrough credit for bouncing back, getting those 2 lefties out afterwards, but that could have been a disaster for the Yankees. And you had a mostly rested bullpen. You only used 1 bullpen arm the night before, and that was Yuendrys Gomez, who went all 3 innings for you. That's the only bullpen arm you needed to say, hey, he can't pitch tonight. Everybody else should have been available. And again, the fact that you already had Leiter warmed, maybe not fully warmed up, but warming up at different points in this game, because we thought maybe he would come in, or Carlos Carrasco, earlier on than he did. I don't know. That's a decision that's going to haunt him. But later on, he ends up, when you start to see Mark Leiter in that 8th inning kind of run into a little bit of trouble. He gets the first 2 guys out, but then Ketel Marte singles, and at that point, Boone says, you know what, we're gonna go to Luke Weaver for a 4-out save. He did not do that the other night, and they lost that game. He did do it tonight, and they won. And Luke Weaver was absolutely sensational. Got all 4 outs, no hits, no walks, 1 strikeout. Had a pretty much a relatively painless 9th inning as well. So, I mean, just got Corbin Carroll at the top of the lineup. Corbin Carroll ground out. Perdomo flew out, struck out Pavin Smith. It was a pretty uneventful ninth, which is exactly what you want from him. Good to see. I know there were some reports about, Weaver maybe having some velocity issues and what it looked fine in this game and closed out the victory for the Yankees. So, as we kind of look ahead at this bullpen, they're going to get some reinforcements soon. Devin Williams is expected to rejoin the team maybe as early as Friday against Pittsburgh, but if not, he'll be there over the weekend in that Pittsburgh series. And then it looks like Ian Hamilton will be back in that following series against the Tigers. So they go at Pittsburgh and then at Detroit before they have their next off day and come back home for a little 2-series homestand. So they're going to get some reinforcements there. Both are right-handed reinforcements, obviously. And obviously Devin Williams he's going to play a key role. He's the closer, but Ian Hamilton's going to get some high leverage situations as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with this bullpen. And, who gets sent down, who comes back. I would imagine we're going to probably see Ottavino. Despite the fact that he looked good in this series, he's probably the first guy that's going to get sent back. He came on board because of Williams going to the paternity list. So we'll see how they operate this against Pittsburgh. But this was a big, big victory for them. Congratulations to Aaron Judge. Again, only Babe Ruth has hit more home runs in his first 1,000 games than Aaron Judge. And Judge has a chance to tie him, actually, against Pittsburgh on Friday. So, unbelievable night for the captain. Got the Yankees off to the start that they needed. But I really want to talk about, and by the way, I really want to talk about two things for this game. And we'll wrap it up after that because I really think, when you're in a long stretch of games like this, I want to pull out guys that might be not necessarily outliers, but stuff that I think is going to have long-term impact. But before I do that, obviously shout out to JC Escarra. Gets his first career hit in this game. Gets a double. Very happy for him to get that opportunity to not only get in and start, but to get that first hit out of the way. They're going to need him. Austin Wells is awesome, but your catcher's not going to play 150 games. That's asking too much. So they're going to need JC Escarra to give them something. Thought he was solid behind the plate tonight, and I'm glad he got his first hit out of the way. And also shout out to Trent Grisham coming off the bench having an awesome game. But the guy I want to talk about to close this out before we start to preview the Pittsburgh series is Ben Rice. And I was really impressed with him. He gets on base in 3 of his 5 at-bats. He has a hit, 2 walks, 2 runs. First career stolen base, good for him as well, and got a double and was really a catalyst for them. Like I said, he walked in that first inning and was able to come around and scored on the Judge 3-run home run, and then he was able to on that double that he got later on to come around. On his second walk, was able to come around on the Jazz Chisholm home run and stole second. So he got that opportunity. He drew both of his walks that he drew tonight. He came around and scored on a home run from guys down further in that bat, whether it was Aaron Judge or Jazz Chisholm. So getting that opportunity to hit in the leadoff spot, we saw Austin Wells there game 1. We've seen Paul Goldschmidt there at every other game since. With Goldie getting the night off and with Wells getting the night off, they went with Ben Rice. And that's a spot where I think we would have been, if I told you late last season, even when Ben Rice was on that crazy home run, if I would have told you Ben Rice would be batting leadoff and really having the success that you want from a leadoff hitter, both in terms of watching pitches out of the zone and swinging at them and running well on the bases, I think you've been pretty impressed. He also had a really nice double play in this game as well, where he got the runner at first base, was able to throw over the top of the runner heading to second for the tag out. I've been really, really impressed with him. And obviously, he had a monster spring training. The ball is flying off his bat. Really, it flew off his bat the entire month of spring training, and it's been flying off his bat through the first week of the Major League Baseball season. I'm really excited for him. And he's going to be an interesting piece because he's going to get a lot of playing time while Giancarlo Stanton is out. And, I'm interested to see how much more playing time he might get behind the plate at times. I know Aaron Boone has talked about that he's going to get some opportunities there. You're going to see him a lot more at DH and first base, but Stanton's injury has opened the door for Ben Rice to win an everyday lineup spot, and he's been excellent. And the fact that he got a chance to lead off in this game, in a game the Yankees really needed to stop the losing streak, and the fact that not only did he have the confidence in his manager to get it, but then to perform the way he did, spectacular. So I'm really excited to see that from him, and I'm excited to see what he's able to do going forward, because I know he's a Yankees fan favorite. There were some big holes in his swing last year despite the power. He looks like a different player. He's developed into an all-around player over the offseason. And we'll see where this goes. It's still 1 week in the season, but for a player like that to have developed his body the way he has, to develop his swing the way he has, and the defense the way he has, and to put that effort in to do that all in one offseason, that's some good dedication. That's somebody you root for. So I'm really excited to see him continue to grow. And now we look ahead. They have a 3-game series ahead in Pittsburgh against the Pirates. They do avoid, I know for those of you that were going to ask, they do avoid Paul Skeens, so they will not face Skeens in this series. But, as we kind of look ahead to some of the probable starters, it's Max Fried versus Mitch Keller in Game 1. Then on Saturday afternoon, Marcus Stroman and Bailey Falter. And then the series finale on Sunday, which will be a 1:35 p.m. game on Sunday. Will Warren, the rookie, will hit the mound again against old friend Andrew Heaney. You probably remember him. So Pirates are 2-5 heading in this game, but those are going to be the opportunities for them. And then as we look ahead to the next series, Carlos Rodon is the next one that's the probably against Casey Mize to open up the next series in Detroit on Monday. And like I said, we expect Devin Williams back as soon as the first game in Pittsburgh. Ian Hamilton before the end of the road trip. Clark Schmidt, I believe, over the weekend is going to start throwing. So, I mean, they're going to get some of these reinforcements back here. So they're off to a good start, 4-2. I think you absolutely take that after facing 2 good National League teams to start the season. There's no reason you should lose these next 2 series. You're the better team than both of these teams. I would love to see another 4-2 stretch here over these next 6 and put yourself in a situation where you're 8-4 heading into your homestand against the Giants and then the Royals. So I'm really excited to see where this team goes going forward, and I'm excited to talk with you about it all throughout the season and tomorrow. So we will see Max Fried again, and I am very intrigued to see how he looks. Obviously, it was a little bit hit or miss in that first start. Didn't matter because the Yankees scored all the runs that they scored, but little hit or miss in his first start. So I'm hoping we see the dominant stuff from Max Fried that we've come to expect from him on the road, and maybe the Yankees can keep this momentum going here and move to 5-2. So thank you once again for joining me on the Bombers Beat podcast. We will break down game number 7 of the season against the Pittsburgh Pirates after the game.